All right. Uh, Switching it over. 3, 2, 1. Jump scare. Boo. Um, I'm gonna keep playing Kulebra and Souls of Limbo. Cause yeah, did not feel like doing Workshop Wednesday today. Um, I've definitely been feeling more low, and it for sure translates on camera and with stream and shit. So it's fine, but yeah, get rid of music. I had such an overstimulated feeling day too. Took me a while to go live. That. I can't remember if it's been, I think, just a couple days since I played this last. And I finished the first chapter, like that little first intro area. Or not intro, because it's not the actual like tutorial level kind of thing, design-wise, but me. My room is hot as shit. That's gonna be an issue. But we'll see. Holy fuck. What did I do last time I played? How do I open shit to? I have like a there's a menu for me, but I don't remember how to open it. Nope. Yeah. Well, face up. M for menu? Nope. I for inventory? Nope. Oh, C. Okay. Oh yeah, I can't go out after like dark, I think. And then what else were the rules? You know, there was a journal too. B. There we go. And then use A. The hot sauce bar has run out of hot sauces. There's this package of hot sauce in the train's cargo, but Zuniza can't get inside without a train ticket. Perhaps you may be able to find and bring them to her. Okay. And then... Oh yeah, because they're like the vultures out front of the little city plaza that's locked. Way to reach the plaza from the Sunset Saw is by boarding the local train. Find the train station and board the train when it departs. Nice. And then I exit with text. Okay. I can't remember too how I even like roll and stuff. What can I do for you? I need to get to the plaza. The town's train hasn't left the station in a long time, and I don't think any trips are planned right now. Believe me, I'd like to leave too. I even have a train ticket collecting dust in my room. Is there anything else I can do for you? Nope. How do I freaking roll? Oh, okay, X. Okay, so I assume I need to sleep until night and then come back out here. I'm gonna do that. I think my room is room number 1. Yeah. rest until nighttime. Okay. I think I have to go through the back door. Get out of here. Oops. This should lead to that little, like, stairwell. There. Ouch. Oh. Oh, there's that bell. See. Use. I'm cracked. I'm a freaking genius. The gate has been unlocked. The hairpin broke. Girl. The well is pretty deep. Press C to open the inventory. Broken frog mask. Wouldn't be wise to throw that down there. Okay. What am I supposed to throw down the well? A stamp? Or scissors? I'll just try to toss everything down there. Fuck it. Nope. Okay, so basically it was pointless to do this yet, or right now. Ooh. Door's still locked. Can I not pick the lock? Use this. Nope. Escape doesn't work. I have to hit X. Alright. Where? Oh my fuck. Okay, going that way was a definite waste of time. I do for you? What's on the menu? There's nothing at all. I don't see the bar getting restocked anytime soon either. I sure would like to collect the hot sauces in the train's cargo, but I don't have a train ticket to go aboard. I already remember doing that. Also, if you manage to get a train ticket, you won't be going anywhere, not with Sheriff Jaka's current restrictions. Okay. Oh, what the heck? Rest until tomorrow? Right. What the heck? I'm out here. I already talked to dude. Okay. But that also doesn't. Hold it. Oh, sorry, but I can't let you go upstairs. Too many delicate experiments up there. Okay. What the fuck? What the fuck am I supposed to do? Ooh, 3 pearls. Another pearl. No. Motion detected. Booting up system. Executing ticket collector. Okay, welcome to the Sunset Saw train station. Main menu. For boarding the train, say 1. For buying a ticket, say 2. For checking the next departure time, say 3. We're sorry, the train tickets are currently sold out. We apologize for the inconvenience. We recommend staying at Moon's Motel while we solve this issue. What the fuck? Menu. 3. The train will depart, or will be departing next on Never. There's 1. We couldn't find you on our list of passengers. What the fuck? Do you have a train ticket with you? Please say yes or no. Yes. Please insert a valid train ticket to board the train. This? Error. Unimplemented case item presented. Please purchase a train ticket. Damn. Wait, was that just a vase I could knock down? Or pot of some kind? There, yeah. 3 more pearls that I could do nothing with. Hey, Raph, what's up? How are you? I'm trying to figure out what the heck I was doing last time I played this, and I am struggling. Stop right there. This place is off limits. We already got a pay cut because someone got in. Wasn't even during our shift. The scram. I feel like I need to push something down the well. One pearl? Two. Not bad. That's not something you see around here often. Someone new. You must be the person who made the reservation. Come to Moon's Motel. How could I have forgotten that? My memory's getting worse by the day. Oh, apologies. I zoned out for a moment there. I'm Mauve. If you need anything while you're staying here, please let me know. Enjoy your stay. No new dialogue options, too. I can't roll back there. Don't think I can get in there. Unlock is too tough to lockpick. Two pearls. Nice. Hey, Cher, what's up? How the heck? There's something in my room. Otherwise, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I can push things. Forgot that for so long. Oh, said not to move it. Seems like this hole connects to the room next door. Do you want to go in? Duh. Low tech. Console here. Ooh, a train ticket. I borrowed the train ticket. I committed theft. Okay, jump through here. And then if I get called out for stealing right away, that is going to be tough. Okay, there's no way I can just go get on the train, right? 3 keyholes, there's some text engraved on it. Oh yeah, I remember reading all of those too. I'll look this way. And then... boarding the train. 1. Because I have the ticket I just stole. Borrowed. We couldn't find you on our list of passengers. Do you have a train ticket with you? Yes. Please insert a valid train ticket to board the train. See. That. Please wait while we verify your ticket. They're gonna know I stole. What the fuck? I thought the train was never leaving. Welcome aboard, Miss Mauve. I see you've lost some weight. Oh. Thanks for traveling with us. Enjoy your trip. What are you guys up to? Okay, still a couple more pearls. Sick. Nothing in there now. For sure, nothing I can steal there. There's nothing in here. Nope. Again. Okay. Hey, Pearl, can I knock down that box? That stuff? No. Ooh. Happy surprise. Fuck it. Oops. Nothing up there. And I guess I do just move on. There. This luggage is secured with a simple padlock. Ooh. Press C. Easy. You get yourself with the couch to care posture as fuck. My room is kind of a fucking pit right now. Do I want to zoom it? No. But will I? Yeah. My room right now is a mess. Because I think you can kind of see like there's a little skeleton bear behind me and shit. I really want to decorate for Halloween. But the minute that I got all this shit out, or some of it, not all, some, a very few items, my ass stopped. I got uninspired. You know how that goes. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah. This is like the longest fucking train ever, too. What the heck? Warning, do not approach the ladder when the train is moving. Turbulence may make it drop suddenly. Oh. I remember that happening in the doors locked. The sign reads engine room. Never again. Okay. Wait, I feel like this one have like a door. Exit is locked. Oh. The fuck? Ooh. It fixed itself? What the hell? Okay. That was weird. Anywho. We're going through this. When will it depart? But it's still gonna say never. And what the heck? Guess I could try going through this door. That was correct. I'm kind of really smart. Right. Book is titled Train Logbook. Cargo Inventory. The following items are to be delivered on our next stop. Hot sauce pack. A sealed pack of hot sauce ordered by the Hot Sauce Bar. Package is to be picked up by Senisa. Will you look at anything else? Lost and found. The following items found within the train have yet to be claimed. Luxurious chest. A red chest adorned in gold has been left aboard. It contains the collector's stamp. Due to the item's value, it has been left above the cargo crates until we find the owner. Oh. Pearls. The number of pearls currently left behind in the train is 3. Nope. Oh Oh yeah, I can push things. Just like this, I bet. And then... what the heck? Oh, I can get there from up top. Wonder if I can go up that ladder. That was outside. Must have to. Can't push that. You can steal that though. That pearl. There has to be a way on top of the train. And the art in this game is really cool. I like that it's different, even though I feel like after not playing the game for like 1 day, it took quite a bit of, I don't know, fucking around to get me back into it. I was confused, but it's also me being a dummy. What the heck? I can't go in the engine room. Oh. I could make the turbulence. You climb up the ladder. Yes. You. This way. And then I will be dropping down to get that chest. This found a hot sauce pack. Looks like beers or something, or drinks. Like a pumpkin. Ooh, a sunset saw stamp. What I got? That was definitely unnecessary, but made it happen. And then I need to go to the hot sauce bar. Oh. Okay. At this hour, don't worry, I won't be ratting you out for breaking curfew. You're safe here. Welcome to Hot Sauce. Please make yourself comfortable. Reminder, all these other characters, unless you have like a, I think it's like a soul moment or something, or like a soul tie, or there's some phrase that pops up, they all forget everything every day. So every new morning they forget they talk to me or that I exist. So they'll keep saying like the same dialogue every day until you get that soul tie or whatever. Around here, I brought a pack of sauces. You deliver the hot sauce pack to Sinisa. Hold on, where did you get this? You know what? I don't even want to know, but I'm impressed. Okay. Thank you, new dude. Now we finally have something to serve. You look like a tough fella. I've got something to make the hair stand up on your, bones. Here, this is the spiciest hot sauce we've ever stocked. It's on the house. I owe you that much at least. Okay. Do I throw that on the wall? Come on, give the sauce a shot. Oh. No, I do not. Used. You want to drink the hot sauce? Yes. You're feeling the burn. Do I level up? Not even a flinch. You're even tougher than you look, I'll give you that. These hot sauces might be painful at first, but you'll feel faster than ever throughout the day. The whole day. Hot sauces are pretty popular here. Most folks drink them regularly. The curfew's already started, so I guess no one's gonna come by for a sauce shot tonight. But tomorrow evening, we'll have at least one customer for sure. By the way, I should warn you that the nights are dangerous around here. There's a curfew, and the sheriff's hounds patrol the town all night. Don't let them spot you if you go outside. I won't close the bar, though. You'd have to kill me first. Okay. He's a libertarian. I could have my character just rest right here. Rest until tomorrow. Wow, that it always puts me like outside of town too. Oops. Although, I guess maybe I need to go back to the bar. I must have to. Going back to the bar during the daytime. You have the mark of someone who has tried one of the spiciest sauces in the world and remained to tell the tale. Very few dare to take such a challenge. You must be tough. The name's Saniza. What brings you around here? Is anyone coming? Here's someone will be showing up this evening. The allure of the hot sauce draws people here. Okay, so it has to be evening also. An empty bar, blocked windows, curfews, an oppressed population, all thanks to our supposed sheriff. Oh, I've already read this. His paranoia has gotten so bad that he won't let anyone live their lives properly in this town. But he also won't let folks leave. He tells us it's all about keeping us safe, but I don't believe a word of it. Before him, this town had a real sheriff, one who understood what the job was all about. Miss Ember, my mother. But according to Bujaka, she was called away on business in another town, and she left him in charge. But I don't believe him. I can tell that he's hiding something from us, and I mean to confront him about it. I just need the rest of the town to back me up. By the way, I should warn you that the nights are dangerous around here. Okay. Literally already did all that. Okay. I need to rest until evening. Oh, you're here. I see you've met Snuza as well. You two met already? You staying at the motel tonight? Made a reservation and everything. Well, it looks like you've got that taken care of. Enjoy your stay, if that's even possible. By the way, could you turn the music down a notch? I can hear everything from up there, you know. Sorry, Ma, but the music stays until that stupid curfew goes away. Ugh, this again? How long are you two going to keep this up? It's like there's nothing else to talk about. And I'm not sure what to do about... Hey there. I don't mean to offend you, sir, but we're in the middle of a personal conversation. I prefer to keep this between Saniza and I. Kindly leave us be. I'm sorry, new dude, but my friend here isn't too comfortable with you eavesdropping on us. Come back when we're done, and I'll gladly talk to you. Is there something you need? Not leaving anytime soon. Oh yeah, it's the same stuff that they said in the motel. Alright. Go in here. And then... Wait, can I go behind the counter since they're not in here anymore? Though I need to go back tomorrow, because then Mav will be back in the motel. I want to rest. Rest until nighttime. And then I'll try to go back to the bar. Oh yeah. Forgot the front door locks. Okay. Do. That was almost bad. Don't know what would even happen, but
Where are you?
what can I do for you? What were you both talking about? It was nothing, don't worry. You might be tough for a snake, but you're better off staying out of this. Might be hotter than even you can handle. You're better off not getting involved in this. Just forget it, okay, Snake? Come on, bro, tell me. Worth a shot. Who knows, maybe you need to just spam it like 10 times or 100 times, like hitting that wall in Elden Ring to find that one hidden door. You never know. Dude, I don't know, man. I feel like my brain is fucked the last like 3 days. I'm like quiet and I feel extra old and just head empty. Uh-oh. Rest until tomorrow. Wonder if I can fight all of the hounds. That'd be kind of cool. Like the one dude who's going around taking on like flock cameras and shit. Which... What the fuck is this? I swear that door was not there before. Right? Pearls. A valve that controls the flow of gas through the pipes. What the fuck? Huh? Excuse me, do I know you? There's something familiar about you. Wait a minute, you must be the person who made the reservation. Welcome to Moon's Motel. How could I have forgotten that my memory's getting worse by the day? Oh, apologies, I zoned out for a moment there. I'm Mauve. If you need anything while you're staying here, please let me know. Enjoy your stay. Where the what the heck? I guess the tech person? Oh, a stranger in town. How rare. Go through this again. Oh, the bar restocked on drinks, so it is worth going. Thanks for letting me know, but I don't think I'll have time to hang with everyone at the bar. I'll think about it, but I got a lot of work to do. Besides, I'd be surprised if Mauve and Sneeza talked about anything I'm interested in. Okay. There you go, try talking to her at the bar now. Ah, new face. Those are few and far between these days. The same dialogue again. What the heck? Stop right there. This place is off limits. We already got a pay cut because someone got in outside of the ship. Blah, blah, blah. Oops. Nope. What the heck? Don't here again? The door's locked. The sign reads Moon's room. Let's see. He doesn't fit. How the heck do I progress? Door's locked. My room. Go back to the room next door and see if too risky to leave the room through the main door. Oh yeah. Just wanted to check it out. It's pointless. That was pointless. Rest until evening. Wonder if I can go tell the that dude to go to the bar now. Let's do here. Already talked about all this with them. Need to get to the plaza. Sheriff's rules. Okay. I can't go upstairs. Guess I'll go back in the basement into that gas room and see what happens. Like the room with the valve for the gas for the pipes. Okay. There's that. And I've got random shit. I push this one? Nope. I push this one? Nope. What the hell? Okay. Can't push that crate or that one. You read. Got all of that already. Oh, you're here. Tonight made a reservation.
So I
You ha He ne o I mo I o ma
so na
I he Ho me Te se be e wa na wu O su
What the heck? Okay. I had a standstill. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I missed something else on the train? Hmm. Can't push that. So nothing new there either. And there isn't shit to do. Okay. That exit is still locked. Nothing in that bag. Engine room door is still locked. And I drop into that. Climb up the ladder. And just threw me off. What the fuck? I can't read anything up here. That was definitely a waste. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the motel. It's frustrating. Oh. Oops. They thought. Okay. And then I can't get in trouble in here at all. Oop. Oh shit. I must be able to go down the well with that. Found a rope. Make sure I don't like attach it to this or something. Nope. I should go back outside. It didn't find me. Oh shit. That was too loud. No. Whoops. Okay. And I'll go back out. Maybe. Oop. What the hell? Okay, because I need to hit the bell and then I need to double back. And that's my issue. Let me do that. What the fuck? I full blown missed that shit this time. Oops. It seems that this rope can reach all the way to the bottom, but you still need to tie something at the end to grab whatever's in the well. Is there anything I can combine it with? Combine that with that. Couldn't combine. Fuck. I would assume it'd be like a bucket or something. Right? Combine that. No. No. It's daytime. I would assume the tech has to have a freaking bucket. Door's locked.
Wepi.
Do for you.
I go.
You should let me know. Nope.
Wa le pi e. A
Okay.
texo.
Otherwise, if there'd be like a cane or something, then maybe that would make sense. But right now, there's nothing. Okay. Clearly, I can't get one down there. Sleep until tomorrow. Guess maybe there's a bucket this way. There's not. Push that crate. Okay, same exact thing. Can't push that. Wonder if I can ask them for a bucket now.
He ma ta ne e I ro.
Often,
Ne
blah
di
blah
ho
blah.
e
Same
so
thing.
e
Because they forget. Maybe I can ask them.
we o
What I do for you? Are we stocked on drinks? I'd already done that.
e I eat. E
Maybe
na
no.
do
Is there anything else I can do for you? Nope.
se ro.
I guess I'll go talk to the dude. Little tech dude. In here.
Oh.
First, do I see like a bucket? That looks stealable. Mm-hmm. Again. Same thing. What the heck? Same thing. Feel stuck. Nothing back there to loot, of course. I'll go check the train again. Here and then... I can't grab that cane. That's not an option. This cane? Or this umbrella. Nope. Can't choose that. That has nothing. Nothing there. And let's see. I don't think there was a bucket in that room, but okay. This way. Fuck. Nope. So I need whatever to hook the rope to be able to then go get whatever's in the bottom of the well. So far I can't find shit to add to the rope. I could like use to collect whatever's in the bottom. This way. You still doing like cleaning kind of stuff, Tack? Oops, I meant to hit X. Awkward. Eh. What the freak hell am I supposed to be doing? I see a bucket or something resting somewhere that I could smack. It'll fall. There isn't one in there. Oh, nice. Ugh. I guess I could check in her room again, or in their room, in Mob's room. Check over here again, too. Actually, nah. Up room. Maybe though they have a hole through my room. I wonder why that exists. Okay. I don't see like a bucket or anything. Talk to these birds. Stop right there. This place is off limits. We already got a pay cut because someone came in. Same exact text. Okay.
I talkie ini ada ivo no ga se fu ke lete I look happy se also
I'm about ready to try it. I'm looking something up. I would really like to avoid doing that. Spork. Yeah, they are funny. That and this salmon. Nothing unusual. Nothing unusual. 8 markings that read flora. Nothing unusual. And nothing unusual. So what the heck? Did not mean for it to go to that. It's like it must be in there somewhere. Something. We try sleeping until tomorrow. Pearl? 2 pearls. Rest until nighttime, and I'll try to go to the well again. Yeah. Through the basement, out the back door. Guess I could see if anything changed in here. Smacking everything non-stop just in case. At least it started over at 30. It didn't go back up to like 60, whatever I was at. Let them go by. Dude. I cannot figure out what I gotta do. All the way at the bottom, but you still need to tie something at the end to grab whatever's in the well. Wonder if... Like, there's for sure not just some bucket appearing out of nowhere.
A I do I wa so. I me bi wo no ni.
What's on the menu? Same as usual. What the heck? Wait. I'll buy it. Bottle hot sauce.
Mo. Neki.
On the menu. You can keep buying them.
I re. Ne lo. Ro so. No. I hi. Sa I.
Again.
I
Like a
o.
health pack. Oh wait, what did you just say?
C O I.
I know you're pretty tough, Snake, but there's a limit to how many of these you can take at once. Leave out the town. Same stuff. Alright. Dude, I feel like genuinely barely animated today. For like the last few days. I'm noticing that I'm sitting here really awkward, being very quiet, and struggling at this game right now, and I'm too hyper aware of it. Oh my god. But what the fuck? Like, there's no way. Maybe I take the hot sauce to the tech dude, because he didn't want to come all the way here, actually. Maybe I drink with him, and then they give me something to grab it. That feels like it would be the correct situation. Ooh, I was wrong. Wait, how'd I go through without pressing Z? Just because it's the swinging doors. I'm so good at this game. Been looking for something to tie to a rope for about 30 minutes, but I'm so good at this game. I wonder if this is playable with a controller, because I probably would like the controls for that better than trying to keep track of C and X and C and then using arrows. My hands keep not automatically going to that on my keyboard. Just until tomorrow. What have you been up to today, Raph? Or, you know, if anything interesting. Or not interesting, but you know, that you want to actually. Why am I doing that? See, my brain today. What the hell? I was just doing disclosures on asking what your day was like. What the fuck? Oh no. Shit. I just remembered the person I figured out who had mentioned Mary Poppins, Cat in the Hat, and Pennywise. Because I had seen their freaking, they posted on Instagram. I'd realized it was because I saw their Instagram story when they were like making art based off the fan theory. Where's it at? Yeah. Here it is. But my room got... Wait, actually it's because my phone lit up my face. I was like, my room got dark as shit. Okay. This is the stage they were at. They had that design. And I can't remember if there's more like art. Yeah, they just zoomed it in. Someone who sang. Who tattoos. I really like their art. Whoa, my camera readjusting. Wild. But their art's really cool. They make a lot of fun stuff. Their tattoos. Oh my god, I wanted this paddle they made so bad. This is them with both their paddles they had painted. And love them both, but I especially, of course, wanted like the Kirby one that's got Angel and Demon, or like Good Evil Kirby. And the other one was really cool too, but that one wasn't for sale. It's pretty neat. And then the Kirby's. Which are really cool. Yeah, they're sick as fuck. They sang tattoos on Instagram. Oh, and they've got their little boopies, like a boopy boys or whatever they call them. They're these little frog guys, and they do them in like a ton of different styles. Like here's a midsummer one. And then what else? Ooh. There's a guitar one. And then they also have Radon, which is sick as fuck. It's so cool. Yeah, this shit's so sick. Definitely recommend. That's the, well, yeah, that's the username up top. Backwards, I guess, but this shit's really sick. They also had some Pocopia ones they designed. They're like flash sheet. They're really cute. And then, if there's anything else I could show. Oops. I forgot time passes in the game. I could have got killed. Ugh, their art is so good. Like here was this for their like 2026 post. The horses and stuff was really cute. The horse for the horse. Oh my god. These are good too. These SpongeBob ones. Like, what the fuck? And what else? Oh, I can show one more Midsummer movie. Because it's so wild that I have to. Like, jeez, fuck. So fucking sick. Okay. Go back to this. But yeah. I don't remember why I pulled that up right now, actually. Wow. There was a reason. Right? Holy shit, my brain. Let me see. Oh yeah, the Pennywise Mary Poppins Cat in the Hat thing. Yep. I knew there was a fucking reason. I was just actually worried about my own self when I realized I didn't remember. Oopsie. Thanks, Tack. Maybe I should play Fortnite or something. I feel like I need to do something to like stimulate my brain. Because like what the heck am I supposed to do with this stuff? There's gotta be a bucket somewhere that I'm not seeing that I have to like knock down. Right? Like genuinely. Heck. I should get an Apex. I'm 30. Honestly, unless I'm gaming, like playing this kind of game socially now, like with another group, I don't like playing them by myself. They just stress me out, make me anxious. Yeah, I like Titanfall too. So, I guess that's enough for me. If one of those fell off the wall and that's what I needed the whole time, I would have had to implode. What the hell? Oh yeah, I got the sauce. Let me take it to the Tinker, the tech dude. Inventor, whatever. Whatever he's called.
Okay.
Cole, I think was his name.
Man, I
Cool,
saw
yep.
who? Two
Bar stocked on drinks. No. Busy right now, I can't be distracted by whatever is that you want to show me. Oh. There's no way I throw those at the birds, right? That are blocking the plaza. Oops. Find that with that. Or am I supposed to start? Stop right there. This place is off limits. Do I want to drink it? No. Actually, what if I can drink both of them? Oops. Okay, let's see. Yep, still burning on the inside. I wonder if I can light up those 1 lanterns now. Or if I'm just super good at everything. Maybe I can bust down the engine room door? I doubt I would fuck with the train more, though. This is actually making me feel like I'm losing my mind. Oh. I'm still feeling the burn. I thought maybe I would like ramp up, I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty sad. Not as exciting as I thought it might get. Wait, what the heck? A shooting star of a pearl. What chapter? I'm in chapter freaking 2, I think. Oh, it's still there. Or, yeah, I finished chapter 1, I'm on chapter 2. Pearls. Nuh-uh. Open this. I did not need to do that. There's something. An explosive barrel? No, it's just a fucking barrel. Pressed keyhole. Yeah, I purchased a room at the hotel. Are you looking at a guide? The goat snake. None of these animals were willing to yield, so a brutal battle ensued. The goat crushed the snake poisoned the lion, and the lion ravaged the goat. I feel like a big old dummy. Oops. Let me inside. Maybe I'll try to buy more hot sauce. What the fuck is that emote? That is terrifying. That looks like some people's builds in Elden Ring. What the heck?
bi wo to wo ha I a.
Okay. Surely I'm about to figure all of this out. Okay. What the heck? Oops. Okay. I already went through, got a train ticket, etc. Also, I noticed I'm like bouncing my chair, but it's because I need to pee so bad, and I really wanted to figure this shit out before I got up. I got that, went on the train, looted everything on the train. I found rope. I've bought hot sauce. I haven't saved the game in a while though. Here, I'm gonna go pee right now. Maybe my brain will like lock in and kind of go sicko mode once I get back. So hold on. Like, actually, I'll play music when I go too. That way it's not boring as a book. I'll turn that off so I can get up. Ions. Okay. Please let this get my brain working. Maybe I was storing a bunch of extra stupid in my pee. Hold on. Oh, I just took the fuck out of my knee. Oh, if I broke my knee, I'm so mad. Ouchie. Holy shit, I just hit my knee so hard on my door frame. Give me a second, I gotta cope. Oh, that didn't feel good. I love having a fucking brittle bone disease, bro, because I literally bumped my knee and I gotta think to myself, Okay. Could I have just broken my knee? Gotta do a little body scan. My God, does it feel like I could have broke my femur? Anything. What could I have fucked up? The door frame. Bro, it's because I don't even ADHD. I got fucking double like yeah. My brain mixed with my body just nerfs me so hard, bro. Basically, I just nerf myself. My whole entire existence nerfs me. Like, I don't think that's how it works. Oh, how the fuck? God, that is a skill that I just have perfected, I guess. At least it's not stubbing my toe. Right? Stub my whole ass leg instead. Okay. Dude. Did I get on the top of the train? Yes. I went on top of the train. Hold on, I'm still just like, that shit hurt. Ow. Okay. Holy shit. Ow, ow, ow. I'm a dumbass. Not really, but kinda. You trying to find a bucket? Yes. I'm trying to find a bucket or something that could grab stuff from the bottom of a well, which seemed like it would be a bucket. Just from the whole well bit, you know? Ugh. Sorry, I'm getting my IEMs back situated. Holy crap. Dude, now my knee hurts. What a life. What a life. What a life. If my knee hurts tomorrow, y'all are about to be hearing about it because I will bitch and moan. If there's one thing I do, we complain about it. Yeah, I will still sit like this. This freaking game is intricate. Yeah. And like it's really cool because they achieve that with it being 2D and like I don't know, not like a massive game. Wild. Shit. Hold on. Forgot my drink on my damn table. Well, not on my table. I forgot it next to my PC, which is why I actually want to grab it right away. Honestly, I should have grabbed a straw, but I didn't feel like, I guess, remembering that part. My dumbass. And also, I think I will play Fortnite. Well, Fortnite Victory Royale. Bucket. Just saying like bucket like that and then staring off into the void as well. Did I trigger a conversation? With who? You can just tell me. I've looked long enough. As long as you don't like give a ton of lore with it and you just say who I need to talk to or like if you looked it up, I'm down for backseating for this. Next to the door. Next to door 2 in the hotel. Like the back door? Or inside? Oh, in the main lobby. I know what you're talking about then, yeah, because there's that other way.
He mo sa hi te ho u o ho bi e I a I.
Can I go down in here? We need to go in there? Is it something with this room?
Wu e. Ho mi li hi e I. Sit re.
I think that's the same conversation as before.
Sit wu.
I mean, there's a literal door too, right here. Nicole's workshop through the back door. No.
Oh, oh.
I think there's this locked door. And here's Cole.
Hey, hey, ah. Talk soon, lo, I bet, say. I say. E. Hey, te. So, E.
We just have to chug the hot sauce and then zoom up there. Or I'm back. It hasn't let me go in. Maybe it'll randomly work this time, I guess, but... Door is locked. Might need to be at night. Right. Okay. I can rest in here. Right? Was there a bench? Yeah.
Can
I buy more of these? Or can I not because I have them already? I brought the hot sauce, yeah. She has the hot sauce. And I have some too. I'll rest until nighttime. Oh, shit. What the hell? No. Fucking dog. My knee hurts. Like, I feel like I need to do something with that. Okay. So I'm trying to go to Cole's back door in the night. Is that what I'm doing? Did the hot sauce lady tell me off? I mean, for eavesdropping, yes. If that's what you're talking about. That triggers the conversation next to door 2. Huh. Huh. Wait a minute. Nope. Is there a fire? Nope. Hold up. Google? Kulebra. Well, puzzle minus AI. Got the sauces, go talk to her, the object in the well. Rest until evening, interact with them, then be told off, then head back to Moon's Motel and go to the upper floor, go past both room 1 and room 2 into the sky bridge. Oh, so I literally just have to go back and eavesdrop from up top. Okay. Just until tomorrow. Then I will go rest until evening, and I will go eavesdrop. Go in here.
Meso. They tell me to fuck off. He.
I'm spamming exit. Okay. Okay. And that's why I need your support, Cole's support too. I know, but I can't pick sides here, Sunisa. I mean, for all we know, Miss Ember really did get called away, and Chaka is just doing the best that he can. Come on, I know you can't believe that, Mauve. You don't believe that, Mauve. Lisa, you know very well how keen I am to these dumb restrictions. You see these dumb restrictions removed. Hard to run a motel in a town no one wants to visit. On top of that, I'm desperate to take the train to Plaza and settle things with Lady, Yuga? You know how important that is to me. But unless you have proof, I can't do anything. You know that Pujaka's not a bad person, even if he can be reckless at times. Yeah, tell that to my eye. I know, I don't think anyone here has forgotten about the gun incident, Saniza. And I have to admit, I noticed something had happened. I didn't think much of it at first, but I saw Pachaka doing something fishy the other night. What did you see? Well, that night I peeked outside for just a moment and I saw Pachaka next to the well. He seemed very upset and was glancing around a lot. It seemed like he was really hoping he wouldn't be seen. I think I saw him throw something down the well. I couldn't tell what it was, but I saw it shining in the moonlight and it was too big for a coin. Gun. But I couldn't help wondering, who goes out at night to make a wish at the well? It felt odd. In a way, I'm glad Cole isn't here right now. I don't know how he'd react to this story. It's understandable. It's difficult for him with Pachaka being his son and all that. I just don't know if it would be right for me to tell Cole about it. I suppose if Pachaka really is hiding something and it all comes to light, Cole will have to find out eventually. Anyway, I think I'd better get going. I don't want to get caught outside during curfew. Thanks for the invite, Saniza.
So Goku.
Sure thing. Take care, Mob, and thanks for telling me about... What the fuck? That would explain the vultures that guard the well until night falls. We can't hope to get past them, but if I wait until nightfall, I could distract the hounds with the bell and sneak past them. But even if I manage to sneak past, how am I going to reach whatever's at the bottom of the well? Bah, it's no use. How can I find out what Pachaka threw down the well? I'm gonna figure that shit out. Yeah, I thought about that instantly too. Like, clearly I need to go talk to Cole. I almost rested until nighttime and was like, I didn't even get the thing. I need to get something out of the well. That wouldn't really make sense. There's something about Pachaka. My son, Pachaka? Well, you certainly got my attention now. You threw something shining down the well? What could he have thrown down there? Could he be hiding something from us? You've got me all curious now. I think there's a way for us to get to the bottom of this. Tell you what, meet me here tonight. 1 second, I've got an idea. I've unlocked the back door so that you can sneak back in during the curfew. Now there's something I'll need you to bring me for our meeting tonight. Find something with a lot of reach. We'll need something that can reach the bottom of the well for our plan. If you have trouble finding anything, you can always ask around. The others might have some ideas. Here, you may find this useful. I'm correct. We'll give you a box of matches. Let's make sure they're in good working order. Try lighting a match. Press A to light a match. Ooh, good. The never-ending matchbox is one of my most useful inventions. You won't ever run out of them. These matches will give you light if you're in the dark. I'm sure they'll help you find what we need. I'll meet you here tonight, alright? Jaga, what are you hiding, son? What was the gun incident? So you've heard about that. I really don't have time to talk right now. Maybe later when I'm less busy. Damn. I might change his mind the second time. You locked the back door. Okay. I want to rest in the bar so I don't have to go the whole way through the basement to get out again. Rest. Rest until nighttime. Okay. What side? I want to pop out this door. Oh fuck. Oh god. I suck. Almost got me. Okay. What the hell? Whoa. That's the closest I've been to getting freaking dead. Okay, stay here. 81%. There and there. Ooh, stuff. A hairpin. Pearl. Oh, it's that door.
Oh, right.
Oh, wonderful, you made it. This needs to be done at night. Those hounds are far easier to trick than the vultures. Besides, I'm free at night to help. Anyway, I've carefully reviewed the issue, and I think we'll have to make use of my most recent invention. Behold the magneto bucket. We'll let you borrow the is it magneto or magneto? Magneto bucket? It's a magnet. It'll pull in anything made of metal thanks to its automatic in-oriented magnetic attraction force feature. There's just one snag. I haven't yet developed the extendable long-range capability tool needed to reach the object in the well. You'll need to find something to extend its reach. Help me finish the perfect magneto bucket. TM. It shouldn't be hard to find something to complete it. It might be worth asking around. I don't have much opportunity to leave during the day, but I put my trust in you to complete my invention. I just ask that you return it to me when you're done. This reminds me of when Puchaka and I would tinker and create things together. Back when he was a kid and he shared my love for invention. Well, anyway, I'm looking forward to what you'll find in the well. Be careful out there. Good luck. Was the gun incident? Right. I have time to talk now. I wasn't there when it happened. I was, busy with work. Miss Emperor, Sneeze's mother, told me what happened. She had left her gun unattended and Puchaka somehow got a hold of it. I don't know how he got it, or if he knew it was a real gun. We've never really talked about it. He was playing around with it, showing off a bit. Sneeze jumped him and he dropped it in surprise. It fired and the bullet hit her. Oh shit, so this is probably what actually happened, like, not just in Limbo, I would assume. It's horrible that Sneeza had to go through that. She lost her eye and all hope of ever becoming a sheriff like her mother. I mean, unfortunately it touched on the eye, but like, dodged a different bullet. I tried to reason with Miss Ember. I told her that there's more to protecting a town than having two good eyes. But she wouldn't budge. She just wouldn't budge. Once that woman makes up her mind, she won't change it. I don't know how Miss Ember could be so cold. I would have caved if my kid pleaded like Sneeza did. But she wouldn't train her. Shaka didn't take it very well either. He thinks it was all his fault. But how can you blame a kid for something like that? Why didn't Miss Ember lock away her loaded gun? I know what he did was pretty bad, but he clearly didn't mean to hurt anyone. My boy is no bully. He just made a mistake. You can't tell from the way he is now, but Puchaka hasn't always been so hot-headed. He used to be a bright boy with a knack for inventions like his old man. We would build machines together. He was never a book-smart kid, and he was always bad with numbers. He has always been bad with numbers. But my Puchaka sure knew his way around a toolbox. But after that incident, he lost all interest in machines and tinkering. He became obsessed with becoming the town's sheriff instead. I don't understand it. After that, he got so busy training for the job. We started seeing each other less and less. I've left his room intact with all the machines we worked on together. Going in there makes me feel all nostalgic. It's like time froze in there. I know that bright kid who wanted to be an inventor is still inside him somewhere. I guess I don't know my boy so well anymore. I just hope he'll be able to open up to his old man one of these days. That's sad. Okay, I'm combining this with the rope. Combine them into the perfect magneto bucket. And then I need to go sneak into the main well. Yeah, the different times of day bit is like wild. Ooh, I need to go. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna die. Do I wanna try it again tonight? Or do I wanna sleep through the night? And then, like, sleep until the next night? I can do it. Getting something. It's gonna be the gun. Oh, dirty metal scrap from the bottom of the well. It's the sheriff's little badge, probably. Wait, I wonder if I can put the bucket down it again. Gun? Nope. Go back into my room. Go sleep through the night in my bed. Okay. Hey. Actually, damn it. Oh, I thought maybe I could rinse that off with the other. Okay. I'll give back the bucket.
Okay. Merci, me, say,
There's something about Pachaka there.
me,
My son Pachaka, well, he's starting to get my attention now. Need something for me.
Oh,
Already did all this.
No, I,
Where'd the bucket go? Did it get rid of it? What the hell?
say, we,
Oh, I guess I'll come back again at night. What the heck? Okay. Go in here.
okay, talk that, boo,
That's a bit of a bug.
I know,
I got the thing from the well. You did? Please let me have a look. Got the thing perfect. Can I see it? Gave Cole the dirty metal scrap. Whoa, it's covered in so much dirt and grime. I can't see what it is. But don't worry, I can get it cleaned up. I'll take my device back while I'm at it. Leave the rope with me and I'll get it back to Mob too. You return the magneto bucket in the rope. Give me a minute. I think we're done. It's clean as a whistle now. Now let me see what we have here. Oh no, this can't be. It's the old sheriff's badge. It belonged to Miss Ember. Uh-oh. So did he kill her or what happened? It has a bullet hole punched right through it. Uchaka, what have you done? Or did the sheriff and themselves? Cole, open this door. It's the sheriff. Oh no. Uchaka can't see you here, and if he spies this badge, there's going to be trouble. Hurry, take the badge and hide. I said hide now. You took your time to welcome me in, eh? Sorry, son, I was right in the middle of something. Right in the middle of what? Building more of your useless go-go bots? Why do I feel like I have, like, hair in my fucking eye? Maybe it's just my fan fucking blowing my shit. In the middle of what? Building more of your useless go-go bots? I swear, you're just reinventing busy work here. You didn't always feel that way. You were such an inquisitive boy. Well, do I still look like a little boy to you right now? You'll always be my boy. I've got a surprise for you. I've been working to fix your Moto Roar. This go-go bot was always your favorite. Enough with these stupid bots. What the heck? Even since I was a kid, our time together was just an excuse to work more. You never really wanted to spend time with me, with anyone. Your eyes never stray from this table. You don't look up and see the years pass. Giving a darn about anyone or anything but your work was too much responsibility for you. So don't try to sugarcoat how much of a failure you are as a father. Son, I may not be perfect, but I love you more than anything in the world. You're the best thing I ever created. The only one you're fooling is yourself, old man. Where were you the day I picked up Miss Ember's gun? Too busy working to keep me out of trouble. That almost shot me in the booty. 6 shots already? I could swear I had more bullets left. Ugh, forget it. And if you see that snake I've been hearing about, tell him I'll put an end to his slithering and hissing if we cross paths. Uchaka won't forget this. Soul mark. What the heck? Unfortunately, it's capable of hitting even someone wearing glasses. We'll work on morality extension once my vision is restored. Bombrero. A weapon that should be used only as a last resort. To activate it, just yell Bombrero. I couldn't decide on just one pun, so I worked in both. Nice. Repairing the wind-up robot. Status in progress. A vacuuming robot that can move on its own by turning the wind-up key at the rear. It tends to break easily. I need to design more reliable wind-up keys after I'm done with my son's requests. Power pillow. A pillow that stays cold through the night. Extremely loud, but I've slept through worse. This robot is missing a wind-up key. Rob Bomb. This one is a real rascal, or Rob Bomb. I just can't make him behave. Damn, this shit got fucked up.
No.
All my precious inventions broken. I upset him. I know he didn't mean to do this. He's under so much pressure all the time. My boy. None of this would have happened if you didn't poke your nose where it didn't belong. Please, just go. Cole won't forget this. You better leave him alone for now. I want hot sauce to make him feel better. This shit got freaking shot. Macrowave. The inverse of a microwave. Capable of fast freezing food and beverages. Perfect for simulating leftover fridge cold pizza in an instant. Oh. Interesting. There's too much trash on this bench to sit. No, I can't sleep in here. You really said fuck you? Clippers. I need to have a private chat with Sinisa. Make sure no one gets through. Oh, they got rid of the bell. Oh, I should go across the balcony again. I remember this time. Growth. I'll board up my windows just as soon as you remove all of these dumb restrictions. But blocking the windows is part of the restrictions. You catch on quick. Well, how about you let me catch a darn break and just follow my orders? You want to catch a break? Tell me about it. You've got to believe me, Sinisa. This is for everyone's safety. I can take care of myself, thank you very much. Besides, I've only been injured once in my life. Care to guess how? Look, Sinisa, I don't want to sound crazy or scare everyone, so let's keep this between us. There's something weird out there, just outside town. These demonic purple creatures. I got in a scrap with them, barely made it back in one piece. And without these restrictions, the folks around here might meet those creatures too. They might not be as lucky as I was. That's why I have my clippers patrolling at night, to keep everyone safe. I mean it. Tall, yellow-eyed, purple monsters. First, you say my mother's been called away to another town, and now you're telling me you saw a bunch of monsters. Either you're a terrible liar, or you've completely lost it, Bajaka. Maybe both. Just you wait. Once I find evidence that you're responsible for my mother's disappearance, I'll put you behind bars myself. Forget it. I don't care if you don't believe me. No one is leaving this town until it's definitely safe to do so, and that's final. So board up those windows already. Just go. Okay. Rest until tomorrow. Who the fuck? Oops. Sorry, you caught me by surprise. I haven't seen you around here before. You must be the person who made the reservation. Welcome to Moon's Motel. The gas leak must be making me forget things. Oh, apologies. I zoned out for a moment there. I'm off. If you need anything while you're staying here, please let me know. Now's not a good time. I'm busy with something important. Thank you. Now, where was I? Okay. So... Go talk to him again? Perfect timing. Come, I need your help with something. Oh, new invention. About yesterday. Oh, never mind that. This is more
Eh, oh,
important.
see.
I need you to help me test this target practice machine I'm fixing.
No, okay, so I
Puchaka has assigned me with the task of repairing this target practice machine.
no, okay,
He's planning on using it tomorrow evening, and he needs it fixed by then. I think I've completed the repairs. I just need help to test it. I'll turn it on. Turn that fan down. There are 3 switches. Each switch raises at least one target. For safety reasons, the switches need a bit of force to activate them. Once all targets have been shot, the machine will lower and reload targets automatically. It'll help the sheriff keep track of his shots fired. He always struggled with keeping count. Alright then, let's test it out. Puchaka will be using his revolver, a typical 6-shooter. You know, you fire 6 shots, then you have to reload. So let's pretend I'm Puchaka. Give me 3 targets. Flawless. Oh, about those barriers. They're for security. Don't want you straying into the firing lane. Don't worry, they'll lower once all the targets you raised have been shot. Okay, let's do this. Oh no, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not shooting you. I just need to test the targets with this gun. Don't worry. Maybe I should have mentioned it before. Anyway, you might want to cover your ears if that's possible for a snake. Good, now let's continue. So I've got 3 bullets remaining. Now give me 1 target. Great, it's working. I've done to the last 2 bullets in the barrel. Now get me 2 targets to finish. Bullseye. Hold up, let me reload. Ugh, this always takes forever. Gonna shoot me. Alright, back to 6 shots fully loaded. I think we're done here. Thanks for your help. I'm still quite busy, but I can talk if there's something important you want to discuss. I need to focus here. Kulebra, is there something important? Patching up the guy at my workbench, the motor rod. I asked what did you work on yesterday. One of my many go-go bots you see around here. I can see you wondering what they are. The go-go bots are robots I built to assist us with tasks around town. They're helpful little fellows. Some of the go-go bots might seem a bit weird, but they all have incredible potential. Especially bat bots, like that one over there. I'd go more into more detail, but I reckon the applications of that bot are pretty self-explanatory. Especially on Tuesdays, of course. I'm sure you understand. I've left notes on some of them if you want to learn more about what they do. Gun incident. The same dialogue as before. Okay. I already gave back the other stuff. To the freaking gas. Okay. Sorry, the basement's closed right now. Oh. Can I get to it through Insta? Door's locked from the other side. I guess I'll go talk to the bartender. Sauce. I've got something to show you. Let me take a closer look. You can get over the sheriff's badge. There's no doubt about it. This badge belongs to Miss Ember, my mother.
ito se iri.
I knew it. This is proof. This is the proof I've been looking for. With this, I can finally prove that Puchaka is responsible for her disappearance. He's been lying to everyone, telling them that my mother left for an important assignment without telling anyone. But I know she would never do that. He's done something to her. I've been planning to put an end to Puchaka's reign for good, but I'm going to need help. See, Puchaka's cabin is at the top of the biggest hill in Sunset Saw, just past the gate. To get there, we need to open the sheriff's lock. It's a lock that can only be opened by using 3 special keys. Before all of this, Mav, Cole, and myself were each entrusted with one of these keys, so I need both of them. With this evidence, I can show everyone how truly dangerous Puchaka is. And with your help, I know we can pull this plan off. Welcome to the team, new dude. Okay, so she'll remember. Well, Marcus, I won't forget this. New dude, go and tell the others that I'm calling an emergency meeting for this evening. Make sure both Mav and Cole attend, okay? I'll make the preparations for the meeting now. Okay. So, I don't know if it's gonna make me fix the gas leak before she'll leave the, like, motel or what. This is calling a meeting. A message from Siniza. She's calling an emergency meeting for this evening, you said. Gosh, it sounds really important, but I don't think I'll be able to attend. There seems to be a gas leak in the basement pipes. I tell you, these days, these old motels are more trouble than they're worth. The door from the motel into the basement is locked from the other side, so the only way in is through the back door. I'm not sure how it got locked, because it wasn't me. That basement is too dark. Going down there really frightens me. The whole motel could blow up if we don't patch that leak. You think you can help me? I can help. Thank you very much. I can't just go and leave this place like this. It's very important for me. You need to do these 2 things for me. First, go into the basement and close the valve in the maintenance room. Second, find the gas leak. The leak must be somewhere along the gas pipe. You'll see it if you head left when you go down there. It'll be difficult to find in the dark, but remember, do not light a match while the gas is leaking. Do you understand? I repeat, do not light a match unless the air is clear. Don't forget it. Good luck. Let me know when you're done or if you need my help. My brain that whole time, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna go down there and use the match to try to find the direction the air is flowing. I wanna blow this shit up. Smells funny. Any hole in the pipe. Seems to be the source of the leak. Okay. Need to also turn the valve. And someone blocked the door. Close the valve. The ventilation system has started. The funny smell went away. And that hole in the pipe was a gunshot, right? It was definitely dude. Seems like you can light a match now. Yeah, but I shouldn't. I found the leak. There's a hole in the gas pipe. I should have guessed that. You won't be able to fix a hole like that without the proper tool. I think Cole might have something you could use. Perhaps you should go and ask him. Is there anything else I can do for you? The gun incident. Oh, how did you hear about that? Well, I suppose the cat's out of the bag. I might as well tell you the story. I was here when it happened. We were just little kids. Puchaka, our sheriff, wasn't always so abrasive. He was an awkward and shy boy, but he always meant well. He was a bit sweet on Sneeza, but it was clear that it was a one-way crush. He wasn't interested. As he grew up, he tried acting tougher. I think he was trying to get Sneeze's attention by being rude. Typical ridiculous boy behavior. But it didn't work. Sneeze saw right through him, and she's never liked bullies. One day, Puchaka did something really reckless to get Sneeze's attention. The two of us were playing near the well when Puchaka showed up carrying Miss Ember's gun. He'd swiped it from the sheriff's office. He started doing some crazy tricks, like spinning that gun around. I was frightened. On the other hand, Sneeza was furious. She marched straight towards Puchaka. Puchaka said that he had it under control, but Sneeza was furious. Her mom was always giving her gun safety lectures, and she'd never even held one yet. Sneeza tried to wrestle a gun from Puchaka's hand, but he lost his grip on it. When it hit the ground, a shot rang out. Sneeza dropped to the ground, screaming. It was a horrible sound. It still haunts me. Miss Ember came running. Puchaka's face was pale as anything. But what confused me the most was how little emotion I saw in Miss Ember's face. I suppose that's what Sneeza means when she says that her mother has nerves of steel. It's a miracle that Sneeza survived. But she lost the eye, and with it her chances of ever becoming a sheriff. She never forgave Puchaka. I can tell he hasn't forgiven himself either. Both of them have only gotten more bitter about what happened over the years. I tried to help them both move on. It has a typo, but I don't think it's possible. Both of them will carry the gun incident in their hearts all the way to the grave. Is there anything else I can do for you? No. Can eat something. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to bed. But do I? I kind of want to finish the story. But I've just felt like overstimulated all day. I feel like I should just listen to my body, unfortunately. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I need to eat and stuff still, and I wanted to get some writing done tonight. But I'm really enjoying this game. I can't believe it took me so long to figure out the bucket situation. What the heck? But I will be live again tomorrow at my scheduled time, which is on my profile. And yeah, I'll put this on again. I guess. Not again. Dale. But, alright. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry it was a very low-key, quiet chill stream. But I feel like it's usually kind of that anyway. Splatoon was just a lot mentally. And I could not play it again today. I've been playing that nonstop since it came out. So, good night. Bye. I appreciate you spending time with me.